Easter 2019 is right around the corner, and being prepared is the best way for your services to come off like gangbusters. That is what we're talking about today. Hey guys, welcome to another thrill-packed episode of the Church Media Guys Show. If we have not met, I'm Dave Curley, and I'm the founder of ChurchTrainingAcademies.com, which is a place where you and I and other media-minded and ministry-minded folks come together to learn how to use and exploit media and technology so that we can take the gospel to the world. With me, as always, I'm going to bring him up. Are you ready? Are you ready? Drum roll, please. Here it comes. Here it comes. My partner in crime, my partner in business, the guy who fills in every single discrepancy that I have, Justin Nava.
What's going on, guys? What's going on, Dave? Thank you for the fantastic intro. I'm here as always, and I hope you guys are doing good. Hope you guys are keeping warm because it's cold in America right now. It's like 40 degrees in South Texas, which is pretty much Mexico.
Baby, so, it's cold outside.
I don't know how you guys are doing it. I'm freezing.
And now for our feature presentation.
Easter is coming up, and if you are watching this before Easter 2019, let me tell you, when this comes out, you got 10 weeks. And you might be thinking, oh, 10 weeks, perfect. I don't have to do anything for 6 more weeks. Wrong, okay? Let me quote our president again. Wrong, okay?
Wrong.
We have 10 weeks to get stuff ready. And too many times we say, oh, we got plenty of time. And then 4 weeks comes and we start scrambling a little bit. Maybe the music ministry doesn't know what they're supposed to be doing. Maybe the kids hasn't prepared something and hasn't told the leadership. And so no one knows what's going on until the week before. And then you're struggling to get graphics and stuff on your website. People have already made their Easter plans by then. So you need to beat the thought and the attention of Easter and say, this is what we're doing. Make some plans around us. Don't try to fit us in your schedule. Plan around what we're doing. And to do that, you got to start preparing early. So today we're sharing our Easter preparation tips for 10 weeks out, because this should go out about 10 weeks before Easter. We have a 21-point checklist that you'll be able to download, link down below, that has all of this and more. Because the show cannot be 5 hours long, we got 21 checkpoints that you need to look at 10 weeks before Easter starts. We're going to go over 5 or 6 of them today. Dave, are you ready?
I am. One of the things that I don't know if a lot of people have really thought about, kind of, there's these official numbers, and if you take a look at your church and look at the attendance and stuff, it'll probably bear this out. The average church has 3 major events or 3 major Sundays throughout the course of a year. Obviously, Christmas is one of the biggest because, we have a candle lighting service or we have a Christmas Eve Mass or something like that. That's always huge, okay? Mother's Day, I didn't realize that Mother's Day, but it makes sense because everybody wants to go and be with mom and honor mom. So we're going to go to church with mom, then we're going to go to the Golden Buffet or whatever it is with mom afterwards. That makes sense, but Easter is also the third one, okay? And I don't know if it's Christmas, then Easter, then Mother's Day, or if it's Mother's Day, then Easter, then Christmas. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But we're talking the big 3 here, and basically, I'm not going to lie, the 3 thing or the list of things that we have here, like that kind of works for each one of these. We're focusing on Easter because we are, at the time this drops, exactly 10 weeks out from Easter, okay? So there's a lot of stuff that you guys need to do, that you need to look at, that you may not have thought of. And some of it, Justin, in our list, am I right? Some of it is like walk around and check the paint in the hallways and make sure there's not a chip that needs to be. I mean, yep. We get down to that kind of level, as well as some like really big picture stuff as well.
Yeah, so this is something that you're not running cabling right now. Okay. Right. You are in, this is the planning stage. This is the Easter preparation stage to get you ready down the road, because you want to measure twice, cut once. Okay. Right. You don't want to just start throwing stuff together. So let me start off with number one. Okay. Number one thing I think that you need to start preparing for your Easter service is, number one, get volunteer commitments. Yes. Okay. it is January 31st, the time that we are recording this. I can already tell you my Easter plans, as well as most of your families are already thinking about Easter. Men and women in the workplace are already thinking, do I have Good Friday off? And if not, am I taking it off? They already know if they're traveling. They already know if they're seeing family. Moms are already planning what their Christmas parties are. Grandmas are planning what time and when everyone's coming to the house. So volunteers know what they're doing this Easter. So you need to go ahead and figure out, how many volunteers am I going to have? There's nothing worse than walking into a children's ministry the one time you go to church a year and they're short-staffed. That's just awful. That's terrible.
Horrible.
And it's not a great impression. And that might be one of the reasons they only come once a year. Oh, they're never staffed. That's because you're always only here.
Right, exactly.
So go ahead and tell your volunteers, get their commitments. Hey, are you going to be here for Easter? Can you serve on Easter? We got more kids in the children's ministry. We got a bigger Easter program. We need more people in the booth. We need more greeters, more ushers, because we're expecting twice as many people. Get those commitments now. And if they can't come, they're not going to be there. So there is no question. Okay. So put the word out now to your volunteers. Are you going to be here? Let me know by next Wednesday. Okay. This way you get a commitment from them, and you know how to plan for your resources and your budget and how many people and bodies you need out there serving in your church.
Yeah, and if a bunch of your A-team is going to be out visiting their family and stuff, you've got several weeks now that you can train these people in a position that they may know a little bit, but you've now got several weeks to be alongside them, let them work with your A-team and learn how to do that thing. So that
onboard them.
Yeah, exactly. Now's a great time. Good call there. One of the things that I think folks need to do is the media team needs to get a fine-tooth comb and go through the sound system. Now's a good time to do things like, if you got a direct box that is giving you some grief, you get a little hum coming out of it or something, now's the time. You got 10 weeks. So now's a good time to, hit Guitar Center or something and get that box replaced. Or if you got somebody that's a solder, demon and knows how to get in there and fix it and stuff, now's the time to do it. Trace out the hums, trace out the broken equipment, the microphones that that need to have a capsule replaced, all that kind of stuff. If you've got an amp that's got a channel that's weak or giving you problems or something, or if you got a speaker that is crackling, now's the time. You've got 10 weeks before it's go time to get something ordered, get something replaced, get a bad cable fixed, whatever. Go through it. Now is a great time. If you have not done this in a while, like some churches, maybe not since you set up the sound system originally, go ahead and re-EQ it. You've got you may have more people than you had when you first set it up and stuff. So go ahead and go through the process of rebalancing the room so that the experience for the people that are coming can not be a distraction, but help them come to a point of worship. It's really important. You've got time, 10 weeks out. Go ahead and start tracing some of these little things that you've just kind of been, I'll fix it later.
Absolutely. And that's kind of bleeds into my next tip. I think there's tons of things around us throughout our building and throughout our ministries that we always say, that's not priority. I'll get to it later.
Right.
Starting now, 10 weeks from Easter, it is later. Okay. It's time to get it fixed. Because there are people that are coming on Easter. Anthony had a great expression. I've never heard it before. Probably you have. He calls them CEO members, Christmas and Easter only members. They only come on Christmas and Easter. So they're coming, and some people are coming and they're just looking for an excuse not to come back. Okay. And any little thing they're going to nitpick. And we just want to make sure we remove those obstacles. So speaking of removing obstacles, tip number 2 that I have you, tip number 3 overall, I guess, is go ahead and give your website an audit. Okay. Same thing as you're auditing your sound system and looking for those little glitches and fixing all the cables and, retaping the ends, maybe if they're falling off or coming loose. Give your website an audit and just take a look at, from a fresh pair of eyes, maybe you haven't looked at it in a while, what's missing, what's outdated, what needs to be fixed. Go through all your links, okay? Make sure all your links, if you have a blog, all your links are still working, okay? Google does not like bad linking. If it knows there's a link on your website that goes to a bad place or a place that doesn't exist, maybe a 404 error, it knows that that's a bad customer experience and they will downrank you. Okay. There's a lot that goes into search engine optimization and getting higher in Google. That's just one of them. But go ahead and fix that. Same thing if you have leaders on your page, there's no telling. I think I've told this story before. I went to a church expecting to see one pastor that was listed on the website, and we got a totally different pastor.
Right.
So even their senior pastor on their website was outdated. Fix that. Okay. I was very disappointed because I went expecting to see one guy and I met someone else. So fix that information. Go through your children's ministry page. Are the pictures updated? Do you still have photo releases for all the kids? The youth ministry page? Is there anything listed? Maybe it says, "Oh, we enjoyed camp 2014," and you're like, "Oh boy, we haven't been to that camp in like 4 years."
Yeah.
So fix that. Okay.
Write a new blog post at least.
Yes, exactly. Last blog post was written back when Obama was president. Updated. So go through your website with a fine-tooth comb. Ask a couple of people who have never seen your website before, "Hey, what do you think? What's your questions when you ask, what questions do you have when you see this website?" And then put an FAQ that answers those questions. Go through your website with a fine-tooth comb and just fix any issues with it and update it to 2019.
Yeah, that's a good one. This is something this is one of those little subtleties that you hammer a lot is, you're talking about making sure that, this pastor is actually still there, or this staff member is actually still there. When people are going to be looking at this, it's going to be the beginning of spring. So it's probably best to not have the winter pictures up there, or, go ahead and take everybody outside after church one Sunday and shoot them with a little bit of greenery behind them, or grab the ones that you did last year. If they're, unless the guy had like a nose job and he looks drastically different, it's going to be okay. Just be sure that the seasonal look is the same. It's not like everybody standing out in a parka, or standing out wearing, if it's still cold like it is up north, you don't want to have them in their, polos or something like that. Have them wearing flannel or something.
One funny story. I had a client. We did church client. We redid their website. One of the pastors had a picture with his dog as his leadership page. And I asked him, I said, "We're going to take 2 pictures, make them all the same." Dude, I get a picture with him, his wife, and like a 5-year-old. And I said, "I hope this picture with your dog is older than 6 or 7 years old."
Whoa.
And not that, "Oh, I got a family, but here's a picture of me and my dog." It's like, it had been that long that he had started a family since he took his last profile picture for the church page. So
exactly.
I don't know, funny story.
Well, and if there's 20 years difference, don't put that great picture of you at 42 if you're 70.
Yeah,
okay,
this isn't Christian Mingle. This is your leadership page.
Go ahead. We like to see the gray, when it comes to, to a scholarly pastor. Okay, that's okay.
Yeah. All right, Dave. What do you got next?
I got another one. We're back in the sanctuary again, and it is dealing with your projectors and stuff. I mean, most churches nowadays have at least one projector. What's going on with the bulb? Those bulbs usually have a 2,000 hour shelf life, which for us using them for a couple of hours, 2 or 3, 4 hours a week, could end up being a few years. You might want to get into the menu, depending on the projector. You may be able to get into the menu and have it tell you what the life is on the bulb. If you've got an older projector and you don't have access to that information, see if you can find a receipt about maybe when you bought the bulb or something, so you could sort of backtrack to, well, this is about a 4-year-old bulb, and I might want to go ahead and change it now. Now's a good time to do that, okay? Now's a good time to make sure that your projector is not going to go out, Friday before Easter. And all of a sudden, you've basically, if you got 2, like in our congregation, we've got 2 of them up on either side. You don't want the service to look like this, where there's just that one, and everybody's looking over here at that one, and that other one is just up there looking all beautiful and dead. You don't want that. You also don't want the registration. Check out the registration, like the colors. You can like get the green and the blue and the red, and they can be off a little bit. Get in there and kind of calibrate that, tweak that, things like that. Also, if you're doing like triple wide or double, where you got 2 screens that are blended together, get in there and tweak those, recalibrate them, do stuff like that. Now's a good time to play with that and fix what's broken when it comes to your projectors. Also, they all have fans in them because they blow out the heat, which means they're sucking in air, which means they're sucking in dust, the dead skin cells after all those hundreds of people sitting in the auditorium every single week. So go ahead and get those filters cleaned out, blow it out, get stuff like that, so that thing will not give you any issues when it comes time for all those CEO people coming in on Easter Sunday.
I love it. Anthony, thank you so much for sharing that. That we're going to use that from now on,
Yeah.
CEO. If we need to give credit to someone else, let us know. Yeah, especially about the fan. We actually had a $2,000 projector die because we never dusted it.
Right.
This was a long time ago. And we opened it up and it was just terrible. It was just awful. I think there was more dust than metal inside of it. And it totally just overheated and killed it. So if you're not dusting your projector, now's a good time.
Yeah.
Now's a good time.
What else you got?
Going into my last preparation tip, this one is for most of the communicators. I did one for the general church, one for the web heads. This one is for the communicators, the people that run social media, the people that are in charge of promotional stuff. If that is part of your description, or maybe that's what you do as a volunteer basis. Right now is the time to put together some numbers, some prices, and some costs of what you want to spend on advertising. Submit your budget proposal for your advertising and promotion like next week. Okay. 10 weeks away. Now's the time to see, okay, this is how much I want. This is the software I want for a landing page if you need that. This is how much I want for Facebook ads. This is how much I want for professional print jobs. This is how much we need for a radio broadcast, which, by the way, a lot of local Christian radio stations, bonus alert, if you are doing a free program at your church, a lot of them will promote you for free. Now, if you charge for tickets and stuff, you have to pay them to promote it. But if you're doing a free church event, a lot of Christian radio stations will promote you for free. You just have to give them some time. So go ahead and take a look at that now that you're 10 weeks out. But get the numbers together that you need for whatever software and advertising and print costs. Maybe you want to print some extra CDs or some extra gifts. Because that should be considered with this too. We want to give out Easter mugs or Easter portraits. We need a backdrop. Anything that you need to spend money on. Doesn't have to just be ads. Get the costs together now. Give it to your pastor by next week, because it's probably going to be 3 or 4 weeks before they get an answer back to you. Maybe you have to wait for the financial committee. Maybe you have to wait for the financial planner volunteer to come in once every month to balance the books. And, oh, hey, do we have this amount left over? It's going to take some time to get the approval. And again, if you wait till the last minute, they may say there's no more money for April, right? There's no more money for the quarter. So go ahead and get your numbers in now and submit them. And then hopefully they'll come back within 4 weeks and say, yes, you can have this money, or worst case, we got you half of it.
Right. So
go ahead and start putting those numbers together now and submit them to your pastor or leadership, whoever is in charge of giving you the okay.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And while they're working on that, you can be working with the other team to get all the actual artwork done and the proper formatting and all that sort of stuff, and formulate the plan, that you're then going to apply the money to. All right, so back in the sanctuary, I want to talk about lighting for a second, and we're talking about both the sanctuary lighting, the house lights, as well as like the stage lighting and the accent lighting and things like that. Go over all that, okay? Do an audit on that. Walk around looking up, turn on the lights, and then stand in the balcony or in the back of the room and look where you see a dark panel. If you've got like these kind of like single chandelier kind of things with the panels, or if they're up in the ceiling, walk around and make note of everything's supposed to be on, that one's not, okay? Draw yourself a little grid, little map, whatever. Make note of that. Do the same thing with the lighting that's your stage lighting, okay? Blow all that stuff out, get it all up on the stage, and go around and make sure that this, everything is the way it's supposed to be. Make note of all that, and then get things replaced. Now, again, is the time to do that. And you need to coordinate this with, if you're in charge of the lighting and then someone else is in charge of the visual display and the other media and stuff like that, be sure you're coordinating with them, because if you guys need to rent a scissor lift, if you got a 25-foot ceiling, then you're either going to be putting scaffolding in there, or you're going to be renting a lift to come in. Listen, lifts are $1,500, $2,000, to rent those things to come in, especially if they have to be manned, okay, depending on the lift company. So you need to coordinate all this so that once you get up in the ceiling, you're taking care of everything at one time. You're replacing the lamp on the projector. You're then rolling over after you've dusted the projector. You're then rolling over and changing a light bulb, and then you're rolling over to the stage area and changing out a couple of the LED panels, or replacing DMX cabling or anything like that. Go ahead and try to get all that stuff taken care of at one time, so that it's a 1 or 2 day thing, as opposed to, the scissor lift just drove away. and we need to replace these light bulbs. I guess we should have done that at the same time. Trust me, when your congregation is full of new people or people that are coming back after several years of not being there, and they decide, let's look at this church again, now is the time to make sure that they're not distracted by everything from a panel, a light panel that's out, a dark spot on the stage, a dark spot in the auditorium when the house lights are up, or even a ceiling tile that has fallen or that is loose or something like that. Try to get all that stuff taken care of in 1, 2, or 3 day period when you get a lift. But be prepared to know all these things have to be taken care of this one time, okay? Got to be good stewards.
Yeah, Chris brought up a really good point. He said, any changes that you want to make to both the stage, lighting, sound, video, you want to give it plenty of time for your teams to adjust to the change once you have changed those systems.
Right.
So don't do it the week before Easter, the week of Easter.
No.
Don't make your run through the actual show.
Right.
Give your team a few weeks to make the mistakes, because they will happen. Give your team a few weeks to make those mistakes and figure out where the new knobs are, what lights are working. And, I remember one time we had fixed a light up in the ceiling. We had fixed all the lights, and we fixed one light. We didn't even realize that one light was part of a scene. Somehow the baptistry light was programmed with the intimate worship scene, and it just never worked. So we never caught it. So we bring the lights down on Sunday morning, and then there's just a light shining on an empty baptistry.
Yeah.
It was kind of random and odd. So you definitely want to have some time to figure that stuff out.
Right. You've been
and
compensating.
maybe reprogram the lights if you have to.
Yeah, that light has been out for 6 months, and you've been compensating by picking up the light on the other side of the stage a little bit more, or you've redirected something. Like in our auditorium, we've got those old dimmer packs and those can stage lights that are like really long throw. We go stand on a chair back there and reposition these things. We're like, to fill in and stuff like that. All of a sudden, you get 3 of them fixed, and now you've got this spot on the stage that's like almost on fire because you've not compensated for it. So yeah, get all those kinks worked out. Now's the time. So like tomorrow morning, Sunday morning, tomorrow evening, you and a couple of guys after work or whatever, go in there and start running through and with your volunteers and stuff and making note of all this. And by the way, check with your volunteers if you're in charge of this and you're not like if you're overseeing several different departments and you've got a volunteer who knows the sound system or knows the video system or knows the lighting system, and you're really not, I know how to turn it on, but I don't really mess with that. Lean on them. They know what's broken. They know the nuances and things that, let's go ahead and get that fixed now. They're the ones that will bring the wisdom of the specific system and what needs to work and what doesn't need to be fixed, etc.
And let me end on this. Perhaps we should have started with it, but if you hung out till the end, I'm very glad you did. Give me just a second. My computer's ringing. Okay. If you've listened to this and you say, Justin, Dave, these are amazing ideas. And yes, you're absolutely right. But my pastor has not picked a theme. My pastor does not think about Easter. We still haven't even taken down the Christmas decorations. We still got a wreath hanging up in the sanctuary.
Hey, wait, we took down our Christmas tree here at our house last night. Kat did that.
So if that's you, if you're saying this all sounds great, but my church doesn't work like this, I understand. And yes, this is the whole theme of the episode is planning for Easter 10 weeks out. If your church is like that, this episode is planning for your Easter 10 weeks and 1 year out. Okay. If your pastor says, I'm sorry, I don't have this, I'll get it to you maybe in March. Okay. What you need to do in a very lovingly, non-malicious way is take note of everything that didn't get fixed by Easter. You say, okay, Easter morning, the projector still doesn't fit the screen. The light is out. We don't have sermon slides because you didn't give me the theme until Good Friday, right? We don't have this, or this doesn't work, or the bulb went out the week before, and now we're scrambling. Anytime that something goes out like that, just take a note, okay? And then next year, you say, Pastor, here's kind of what happened last year. And I know you said you weren't planning on it, but Christmas is over. It's January 4th. We need to start planning Easter. And here's everything that went wrong because we didn't start planning Easter this early. I don't want that to happen again. I want to create an even better environment than we did last year. Because to be honest, pastors have so much on their mind that stage lighting is not at the top of their list.
Right.
Okay. They're more concerned with the couple that's fighting right now and at the verge of divorce, and rightfully so. So you have to just reinforce it. Pastor, I'm here. Here's what we need. Here's what I know we need. And just let me take care of it. But it needs to happen now. And, I'd love to run ads. We talked about ads last year. It didn't happen because I didn't know what we were doing. We had some scrambling with the audio stuff. If you just let me know what you want to do now, take a week, take 2 weeks, 8 weeks, right? Getting a theme 8 weeks before is better than 4 weeks before. And let me know what we're doing so we can plan this and have this ready. And as long as you have evidence and not a feeling of pastor doesn't remember what happened or what didn't happen because he had bigger stuff on his plate.
Exactly.
Go ahead and just remind him lovingly and say, hey, I don't want this to happen again. I do want it to be better. I don't want it to be another Easter. I want it to be a better Easter and not the holiday. I'm talking about the service itself. Right. So if that's you, if that's your church, no, we don't do that. We can't do that. Pastor said no. Okay, so you're planning for 2020 at this point.
Right. And you've got and you've got a year to start helping your pastor think a little bit more like this, or put teams together that can handle these things that really the pastor doesn't need to be consumed with. So you've got some lead time on that. So yeah. And by the way, we're here for you. I don't know if you realize this or not, but you do not have to do this alone. My mom and dad go to a church 150, on a given Sunday. 3 staff positions. One of them is part-time. And very small church. I want my mom to know that she's not alone when it comes time to, bulletin designs and artwork to promote a event or something like that. She's not alone. You're not alone. Okay. Your staff is not alone. If you're a pastor in a church plant and it's you and your wife or your husband, you're not alone. Church Training Academy is here for you. If you go to churchtrainingacademy.com/join, you can, at the time of this recording, and maybe if you're watching this, because it's coming out like this week, like in a couple of days, you may get in under the line. You can still get in for a very affordable monthly price to become a CTA Insider and have access to all kinds of training and tutorials and tips and a community of people that are here to help you. Some people have done stuff that you're wanting to do, and they can share that information. Some people have ideas that they want to know if it's going to work or not, and you've already done this, or you've come up with a way to do it in a much more cost-effective way. That's what our community, that's what CTA Insiders is for. And one of the biggest benefits of being an insider, besides the training courses that we have, besides the tutorials, besides the private Facebook group where basically we can all just ask each other questions and stuff. We have twice a month, we do a live mastermind, what do we call it? A group coaching, where we're all the members that are available for that 2-hour time period on Thursday night come together and bring whatever the situation is, whatever you're going through. Christopher Hall out in, is it Nevada or Utah, wherever he's at, out there, so Reno, there you go. He's out there, and he was putting together a little studio because they're going to do like a little Q&A type show that they're doing, he and his pastor. And so he was putting it together, and he was showing it to us in the last one, and we were helping him tweak right then, do this, adjust this light. Here's how you can take care of that backdrop, stuff like that. Fixing whatever the problem is or whatever needs to be tweaking, doing it live, like right then and there, like all together, and everybody gets to chime in and share their knowledge and their resources and stuff. It's absolutely wonderful. Would you say that becoming a CTA Insider is worth it, Justin?
Yeah, it's absolutely worth it. And again, I know people tell us, I asked our email list, hey, how come you haven't joined CTA Insiders yet? And everything I got was, my church can't afford it. I'm at a small church. My church can't afford it. I can't even get $5 to take someone out to start. Okay, fine. I get it. We did a poll in our CTA Insiders, and over half of them pay for it out of their own pocket. Mm-hmm. Okay. And if that's going to be you, right now is the time to join, because it's only $27 a month. Mm-hmm. If you're listening to this with 9 weeks to Easter left, it's too late. The price has gone up. Still $37 a month. Other people in our space, in the media space, charge $500 a month. Yeah. So $37 a month is nothing compared to those guys. And we're going to go along with you. And it's just consider it a gift to the church. Consider it a gift to yourself and time savings. Just to let you know what we talked about last night. Last night we had our mastermind, and then I got to go. We talked for about 2 hours. That's about the typical mastermind. We came out with 8 lessons learned. First, we talked about getting started podcasting, defeating the nerves of starting. If you are starting a podcast, maybe you are starting to put your sermon out there, you get nervous. So we talked about that. We talked about Instagram stories and how to get more engagement. We talked about esports ministry, live streaming, Twitch, and what exactly should we do about that? Chris gave his podcast studio tour. One of the favorite things we talked about last night was the lowdown on Instagram follower accounts. We talked about, growing your Instagram page and what follower count really matters. And it's not just about your follower count, and it's not about who's following you. It's about the social proof that they provide. So we talked about that. My favorite thing of the night, it was the last thing we talked about, tips for making logos faster, especially when you have nothing to go on. You ever had someone come up to you and say, hey, I need a logo by tomorrow. What do you want it to be? And they say, I don't know, you make it look good. You don't have much to go on. You got to make it fast. And then, of course, you make something and they say, that's not really what I had in mind. Can you go make it again? Please. Thank you. I don't know why I did a face there. We talked about that, making your logos faster. And then we helped Tommy troubleshoot his computer. And the last thing was, we talked about YouTube and Facebook watch times. We kind of demystified that. What's a good watch time? I think we all learned something there. So that was a good one. That's what we talked about last night. If any of that stuff interests you, or if you're like, man, I had that question. First of all, when you join, those videos go up. No, sorry, that was last week. We talked about it last week. Right, videos are going up. I edited them last night. Right. Videos are going up today, so you can go back and watch those previous clips.
Yeah, we're archiving all these in there. In a big searchable knowledge base, basically. I mean, ask a question or put in a keyword, and we will have, or very soon be covering that topic. I'm really surprised. Yeah.
And of course, if there's anything missing, you bring it. You're never more than 3 weeks away from having the next mastermind and be able to bring it. And if that's even too far away, you have the Facebook group. Right. You post a video. You do a studio tour. You say, this is the issue my computer is having, and you share your screen. it's a steal.
Yeah, it's cool.
I charge $80 a month for computer troubleshooting. You can pay less than half that and have dozens of people helping you with your issues. I don't know. To me, it's a no-brainer.
Share this with your friends. Do all that sort of stuff. Check out these videos right over here. Okay, there's some other stuff that is going to be helpful. Hopefully one of these two will be really helpful to you. And be sure that you take anything that you're learning from us here and use it to go out there and change lives.
Hey, why are there boxes on my face?
You're like in the Brady Bunch, man. You're like, hey.